Hey, I'm sarahcleo1. So, let's talk geopolitics. Yeah, I know. You are right. You see, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they told us, history is over. That was 35 years ago. Perestroika happened, and poof, history vanished, just like that. This, right now, is supposed to be post-history. And we all woke up in this wonderful, one-polar world, drifting happily in the pink dream of globalization. Oh, and let's not forget, neoliberal economics joined the party. Neoliberal meaning free. As in, free markets, free trade. Free, for money to go wherever the hell it pleases. And guess what? Since then, 90,000 factories have left the United States. Gone. Vanished. Shipped off to faraway lands. Now, Trump wants to bring them back. Good luck, buddy. I actually think he's right. Factories should go home. Not just in America, everywhere. Wherever they came from, that's where they should return. Problem is, where the hell are they now? Ever heard of the Flying Dutchman? Wagner's opera? No, not Putin's mercenaries, Richard Wagner. A cursed ship doomed to roam the seas forever, never finding its way home. That's what these factories have become. For 35 years, they've been sailing from one cheap labor port to another. First, China. But when Chinese workers started demanding real wages, the factories pulled anchor, set sail for Vietnam. Then Vietnam got a little too pricey, so off to Cambodia. Then Turkey, then Egypt, then Nigeria. Turns out Nike has been on a world tour. Yeah, Nike, the Roman god. You're right. Mercedes, Apple, Renault, they're all just floating around. And why? Because factories have a dirty little secret. Wherever they settle, they bring wealth. And wealth makes workers think they deserve a share. And that, my friends, is not part of the plan. So, the moment a worker dares to say, "Hey, maybe I should be able to afford dinner tonight," the factory packs its bags and moves on. Always hunting for fresher, cheaper, more desperate hands. For 30 years, factories have been running like Don Juan. Seducing towns, promising prosperity, then vanishing into the night. The workers? Left behind like abandoned lovers. Staring out at the horizon, watching their runaway prince disappear. No job, no money, no future, just aging, rusting towns. Clinging to the last traces of a dream that never really loved them back. Laissez-faire. Laissez-passer, they used to say. And now? Laissez-partir. Let them go. That's why Trump happened. He promised to be the voice of the scorned, the betrayed. The ones globalization swore eternal love to. Then ghosted without even a goodbye. Now, Trump-like figures are creeping into Europe. Still a bit timid, still finding their footing. But give it 5 years, and the Trumps will multiply. Coming to round up those wandering factories, drag them back home. And return them to their abandoned widows. Of course, when that happens, costs will skyrocket. Inflation will explode. But at this point, no one even cares about inflation anymore. People just want the factory back. No more endless Mondays in the sun. Just wake up, go to work, turn on the machine. Build something real. Like back in the Trente Glorieuses, the golden years of post-war France. A time when men had jobs, and the only thing rising was their sense of dignity. And here's the thing. Except a handful of floating, clueless elites. You know, these guys who call themselves technocrats, businessmen, visionaries, political analysts, etc. Yet, almost everyone desire desperately what Uncle Donald offers. For the rest of us, there's just one simple dream. Don Juan, please come back home. Man. 90,000 factories. Enough chasing after younger, cheaper, more vulnerable, manipulable lovers. Cheap and desperate workers of the unfortunate countries. But can the new Trumps bring them back? These runaway machines? That's the million-dollar question. Because just as we thought we'd hit rock bottom, boom. Here comes AI and automation too, as if till now we didn't have enough problems around. And that's got the elites more confused than even the fall of the USSR. But also, a little excited. Because AI, well, AI is cheaper than a Nigerian worker. Imagine that. Cheaper even than a Nigerian, desperate one. AI doesn't strike. AI doesn't need insurance. And if the elites have their way, machines will do all the work, for free. There's just one problem. Who's gonna buy the products? A handful of billionaires? That's not gonna cut it. You need a market. You need customers. But if no one's working, no one's buying. And suddenly, the entire concept of capitalism starts shaking at its core. So yeah, the elites are having a bit of a crisis here. For the first time in history, they don't know how to play the game. Actually, they never did, but this is another topic, for another video. Now, let me tell you something no one ever says out loud. Something the elites should probably pay attention to. Everybody thinks the Russian Revolution of 1917 was a workers' revolution. Wrong. It was an unemployed revolution. There were barely any factories in Russia back then. The people weren't workers, they were slaves, ex-serfs. Freed by the Tsar's decree, only to find themselves totally jobless. First, they turned to cheap, shitty vodka. Then, when they ran out of vodka money, they turned to a bald guy named Lenin. And boom! Bolshevik Revolution. Revolutions aren't made by the working class. That's a lie we've been told. If Marx was right, revolutions would have happened in industrial England. Not in half-feudal Russia. No, revolutions belong to the jobless. There was this old French philosopher, Étienne de la Boétie. He wrote the Discourse on Voluntary Servitude. Basically, he said, people love servitude. They crave it. Give them a factory, and they won't rebel. They will never quit. Beat them, insult them, whatever. Just don't take away their factory. Because freedom? Freedom is terrifying. You wanna take my plus value? Please. Enjoy your meal. Just keep me in front of any machine till my 70s. Especially when the vodka runs out, freedom sucks. But who can blame us? Freedom without a double hooper menu beside is just a nightmare. So yeah, those 90,000 factories? They need to come home. What happens when they do? Well, nobody really knows. But first, we need to face the truth. We need to put the last 35 years on trial. Then we will see. Thanks for listening. See you in the next video.